Hello and welcome to Craftiosity, the subscription box of modern craft kits. Today we're making these felt Christmas tree baubles inspired by the vintage glass baubles your granny might have had on a Christmas tree. Inside your kit you'll find your felt, embroidery threads, golden thread, your beads, template sheet, beading thread, beading needle and embroidery needle, and your stuffing. Cut out the template for the first bauble from your paper sheet. Then cut out 5 copies of the template from the blue felt. We'll sew a circle of lazy daisy stitches around the centre of each section, and for these use the full 6 strands of the embroidery thread. Pop a knot in the other end of your thread, then bring the needle up and sew back down through the same hole, leaving a loop above the fabric. Sew up about 1 centimetre away, through the loop, and then back through the same hole you've just come up through. It'll look like this. Sew 6 lazy daisy stitches like flower petals, leaving a little gap in the centre. We'll fill each centre with an easy French knot. Bring the needle up, create a small stitch, then bring the needle back up through the first hole again. Sew around the stitch 3 times to create a little bump, then sew back down through the second hole. Repeat this for all 5 blue sections. To sew the panels together, we'll use the blanket stitch. Bring 2 pieces of felt neatly together with their backs facing inside. Use 2 strands of embroidery thread to do the blanket stitch. At the top of the pieces, bring the needle up through one of the fabric pieces and then back down through both pieces of fabric about 4 millimeters along. Don't pull the thread all the way through, catch the loop of the first stitch and then keep going. It'll create this blanket stitch effect. So again, sew about 4 millimeters along, catch the loop of the previous stitch and follow through. To add the next section, bring another piece of felt back to back with one of the previous sections and sew blanket stitch, this time all the way from the bottom back up to the top. Keep sewing all the sections in this way. On the last one, leave a gap to stuff the bauble and leave that extra thread loose for now. Add in the stuffing bit by bit until you're happy with the shape of the bauble. Make sure the blanket stitch edges of the bauble aren't straining because of too much stuffing. Then pinch the unsewn edges together and continue to blanket stitch all the way to the top. Secure your thread with a knot at the top and trim. Cut a yellow strip of felt about 1.2 centimeters across and wrap it around the top of your bauble with an overlap of 1 centimeter. Cut any excess off the strip. Put a couple of little stitches into the strip where it overlaps to hold it in place. This will be the top of your bauble. Now we'll create the lid for the top of the bauble. Cut out a little circle in the yellow felt the same size as the top of the loop you just made. Use your needle to widen a little hole in the felt circle, then sew the thick golden thread through the hole. Create a second hole and sew back down. Decide the length of your loop to hang your bauble on the tray and then trim the golden thread. Knot the 2 ends of the golden thread together so it's secure. Place your yellow loop of felt over the top of the bauble and stitch through the loop and the felt underneath to secure it into place. We restitched over the 2 existing stitches, then added 2 more stitches opposite. Use blanket stitch all the way around the top to sew the lid of your bauble into place. Check it's strong enough to hold and add extra stitches into the sides of the top if needed. To add the beads, thread your bead needle with the beading thread and put a knot in the other end. Sew through one of the lazy daisy loops so the knot is hidden and out just to one side of the top of the loop. Add 3 golden beads, then sew back in on the other side of that same loop. Sew out again at the top of the next lazy daisy stitch. Repeat for all the lazy daisy petals in that panel, trim the thread and do the other panels. Use the second bauble template on your paper sheet and cut out 5 copies of the template from the pink felt. Use the previous steps to stitch them together using blanket stitch, stuff the bauble and add a hanging top. To add the beads, knot your beading thread and sew in from the edge of one of the panels to hide the knot. Start sewing 1/3 of the way in from the edge of the panel at the top. Add 5 of the silvery beads to your thread, then sew back into the felt where they end. Leave a gap of around 1/2 centimetre, then sew on another 5 silvery beads, and so on all the way to the bottom. Create a second row 2/3 of the way in from your panel edge. Repeat and sew 2 rows of beads on each panel all the way around your bauble. Use the third bauble templates on your paper sheet and cut out 4 pieces of the thinner template and 1 of the wider template from the purple felt and the circle from the white felt. Use a full 6 strands of embroidery thread and sew 6 lazy daisy stitches in a tight flower shape to attach the white circle centrally to the wider piece of purple felt. Then use a different colour of embroidery thread, again all 6 strands, and sew simple straight line stitches around the lazy daisy stitches to create a 6-pointed star shape. Using a lighter colour of embroidery thread, again all 6 strands, sew a starburst of straight line stitches from just outside the star shape to off the edges of the white piece of felt. Then sew all the panels together using blanket stitch, using 2 strands of the embroidery thread, stuff the bauble and add the hanging top. Add a row of golden beads, similar to the pink bauble, down the centre of each of the other 4 panels. You can now create another 3 baubles in different colourways or add your own stitches and decoration. Here we've created the pink bauble with yellow felt and golden beads. Or you can play with other ideas. This bauble uses the first template as the base, but adds white panels attached with blanket stitch, with 2 lazy daisy stitches and 3 little beads in the centre. Well done, your baubles are complete. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, follow our channel or come on over to www.craftiosity.co.uk.